and I was a regular to the gym like for 2.5 years. But I think the part I was struggling with was food, and that's when Yash came into the picture. And I love doing these experiments with food, and is very privileged, I feel.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
From whatever you have learned during this time, from becoming a better version of yourself, developing healthy habits,
Yeah.
overall becoming a better person,
Yeah.
what are few learnings that you would like to share with the audience? Hi everyone. So today we have Samruddha with us. She has been with us for a long time and she has been coaching with Coach Yash. So we are going to talk about her journey with us, and this is a podcast for that. So what
Yeah.
do you do?
So I have multiple roles that I play. The first one being a food blogger. I have my own page called When in Pune, where I explore places of Pune to eat. And the second role that I play is of a social media manager, wherein I create content strategies for various cafes of Pune.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what does your day look like? What do you do? What do you deal with on a daily basis?
Okay, so each of my day looks very different. Most of my morning is dedicated to something that I like to do for myself. So that's like a complete me time kind of a space. And like post 10 a.m., I am generally into posting or creating stories around different accounts. So you once you open my Instagram, you'll find so many accounts logged in. So mostly I'm in work zone, and I think around 4 p.m. I stop working consciously, and after that I have my evening time mostly slowing down or maybe preparing for the next day.
So you are the kind of person who has a job of like a person who is not scheduled.
Yeah,
Everything happens so sporadically, and you're not aware of what might happen when.
yeah.
So how do you fit in your workouts?
Actually, it took me almost 2.5 years to, like figure out what exactly works for me. So, if you read a particular book or you listen to a particular person, you feel that, oh, let me try to adapt that. But the problem there is that that person and your life is completely different. And we try to match that so much. So in these 2.5 years, I just tried experimenting. I went back and forth. And now I think how I managed to do that is because those things that I do are non-negotiables for me. So I plan my other things around the things that I definitely want to do. So I think that gives me a lot of freedom to then manage the unpredictable part of my day, because these 4 to 5 things are definitely that are going to be done.
So that's true. There are a lot of variables when it comes to doing something.
Yeah.
And you can't just follow a roadmap and get to the part that you want to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. How did you come up with the PFC? How did you find out about us?
So I have been working with Coach Yash, and he is my school friend.
Okay.
And I did look at a lot of things that he used to post, his personal workouts plus the people he's working with, and honestly, it felt very genuine to me, because I feel I'm the kind of person where I like seeing progress when it's very sustainable. I don't like, oh, it's crazy transformations and then we just fall off the wagon and then there is no other accountability factor. So I believe in going slow but actually making that process a part of your life rather than the other way around. So I was observing for a very long period of time. Until that time, I was doing my own thing, like trying out different workouts. And I was a regular to the gym, like for 2.5 years. But I think the part I was struggling with was food. And that's when Yash came into the picture.
The thing that you mentioned about adopting things, I read a beautiful concept somewhere. I'm not sure if it was on Twitter,
Okay.
but it said instead of adopting things, own things.
Yeah.
It's my body. I need to own the workout.
Right.
It's my system. I need to not adopt. I need to own what I'm eating. Because at the end, I am going to be affected by what I do. So I cannot adopt other people's expectations or other people's habits and expect to change my life around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what was the turning point? मतलब कब you realized कि यार अब तो health पे काम करना ही पड़ेगा?
I honestly don't think there was one turning point because there was so much back and forth with, getting completely into discipline, then just falling out of it, then again getting back to it. So there was no one moment that I can pinpoint and say, oh, after this, I never looked back and it was just perfect. But I do remember honestly when I was talking to Yash that I am working out since 2.5 years, but I don't see any significant change in my weight. So is it maybe because of the plateau thing, or what do you think? But he said that, see, if you're working out, I think the major problem might be food. And I had zero knowledge about food that time. Not that I was eating out or things like that, but now from the knowledge that I have, that lifestyle felt like, when you're not educated about something, you are so ignorant about it. So you don't even understand that you're doing something wrong, and now that in retrospection, I feel that, oh, I was doing everything wrong. So yeah, I think we learn from our mistakes. So I think that was a turning point for me when I understood that food, and now I don't want fitness coaches to like come at me, but in my own personal experience, food is so much more important when you are trying to be disciplined with how you want to feel or what kind of workouts you want to do or what your goal is, honestly. Because now I have gone far beyond the goal of just losing weight. Now it's more than that for me. I feel like, it's literally like meditation for me. Even when I'm chopping vegetables or working out at the gym, like you said, it has become a part of me. Like I've owned that lifestyle kind of, because a lot of times, like the first year I started working with, like the first few months, I felt like, oh, I'm just doing this now and then I'm gonna fall off the wagon. But touch wood, that hasn't happened because the kind of guidance he gave me and the kind of system PFC has, it's so doable in daily life. Yeah, so I didn't feel like I'm doing something completely different from a crowd, or this is a complete different life. And when I go to my regular routine, I'm gonna feel alienated. No, it was so, what you can say, it blended so well with my lifestyle. And of course, everyone has to make a change and there are sacrifices to be made. But with the pace that I made, those sacrifices felt very comfortable to go into that discomfort. So yeah, I think that made a lot of difference for me to get knowledge about food. And it is so ironical because I was always around food and I still didn't know its impact.
How easy or difficult it was to change your mind about certain things like that you were following for certain years?
I think I'm still in that process. It was very difficult because our human mind, I think it's trained to not like routine, and somehow it works the best when we are at routine.
So it is made to play safe. If believing that I would get killed by a tiger would
Yeah.
get me killed, then
It's fight or flight every
yeah.
time. Yeah. So I think when it didn't have that routine, or I was just starting to do that routine, it felt very uncomfortable because, like I told you, the nature of my work, it's very spontaneous. So I like to be spontaneous, but I now, like almost like 1 year into this entire process of being very mindful and having a routine, it actually gives me a lot of freedom because now I know, okay, the food part is assigned, the workout part is assigned. So now it actually gives me that space where I can be spontaneous, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Got it. We talked about the transition of you from being an healthy person to becoming a conscious person who
Yeah.
takes care about her health. What all do you currently do to manage your health with work and everything and all?
Right. There are so many things that I do, but now because there is this thing that I learned from a book called Atomic Habits, which is habit stacking. Now it feels like, oh, this is just one thing that I do. So I have a routine where I wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. and I get that reaction. But now I've just like filtered myself.
Some of the people who are watching this sleep at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times I'm waking up when my brother is coming home. I'm like, okay, great. So and actually it is a place where I developed this over a long period of time. It was not from a place where, oh, I need to start waking up at 4. I actually first started with the reason as to why I need to wake up, and then the whole thing happened. So, anyways, I wake up at 4 a.m. I do my journaling in the first 1 hour. So, because I also write, I have this strict routine of writing 3 pages of free flowing writing where there is no agenda, you just write. So, that concept is called like morning pages. So that's like, you just dump all your thoughts there.
It's training the writing muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to come up with things to write. Then I also maintain a gratitude journal, which already has prompts. We need to fill in those prompts. And I read 10 pages of any monthly read that I'm dealing with. So whether it can be some psychology based book or spiritual based book or any self help book for that matter.
What are you reading currently?
So I just finished a book yesterday, today. It's called "Don't Believe Everything That You Think." It's by a writer called Joseph.
It's a bestseller, right?
It's amazing, and it's such like I finished that book in a week, and it was like really good, like actionable, because I love actionable books. Because I've tried to read philosophy books, and it's like, okay, tell me what to do then. So that's currently what I'm reading, and after that I have an hour to write. So I have a project that I'm working on. Hopefully, it will be a book someday. So I write at least 1 page of it, and I have like before sitting down for writing, I have my pre-workout, and after writing, I leave for the gym. So my gym is around 1 hour, which everybody knows goes to 2 hours because you keep vibing with people there. And then I have my meal prep like a night before. So I come after the gym, I have my breakfast, and then almost till around 2 I work. I have a team of 2 people apart from me. So I delegate tasks to them, see what tasks I have. And on the days I don't leave my house for meetings or for shoots, I'm at home. Otherwise, I'm there. So if I'm stepping outside, I carry all my meals. And if I'm at home, I'll just warm up things and eat. And then I have like lunch at 2, then some snack at 4, and I wrap up my dinner by 6. So I consciously nowadays I'm trying to finish work at 4 because I think entrepreneurs can relate to it that your work is never done. So you consciously have to stop yourself.
You're always in that work zone.
Yeah.
Tabs open
There's
in your
no
head.
boundary.
So
Yeah,
when you're with your friends or family, you're still thinking about it.
exactly.
So it never ends. So we have to set a barrier to it. Like I would work from morning 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I would be active during the time, but I won't consciously think about it.
Yeah, like I'm not at my work desk.
And since you're a food blogger, you might have tried a lot of types
Yeah.
of cuisines and amazing, delicious dishes. So, what's your favorite cheat meal? If you have to eat it and you won't be able to eat it for you take one cheat meal per month, what would it be?
So I'm a huge dessert person, but not like that, the sugar high that you get, but more of a layered dessert person, like more of dark
Savory.
chocolate. Yeah. Yeah, like so basically, something which is uh, done differently, or, it's not like the traditional dessert. I like to try that. So I don't crave it, but I think I miss out on having dark chocolate, man. Like, that's why even my protein powder is chocolate flavored. I'm like compensating somewhere at least. But definitely dessert and chaat is something I miss when, I don't allow myself to have cheat meal for a very long period of time. These two things are my top favorites, I think.
And do you agree that after a point of time when you get conscious about your health, the thing called craving vanishes? Because when you're following a diet, you know that you're working for a greater goal. So
Yeah.
all the things like craving, binge eating, and stuff like that, that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, and honestly, I realized this when I first time did my 75 hard challenge. It was pathetic. It was like tested me to my, oh my god, those 75 days were the slowest days of my life. But the on 76th day, I had this whole ritual that I'll go to a very local shop near my house to have chaat. And I'm not kidding, Aniket. I had the first bite and I'm like, I cannot taste anything. And it was so like such a new experience for me. And even after that, whenever, like I allowed myself to have cheat meals, it didn't hit like it used to hit before. But that wasn't the case for desserts though. So I do miss them. But I think naturally your body has realigned to a place, and it's such a good thing because since years you've been dumping, I don't know what all things in your body, but 75 days may just realign. And honestly, like last year I went on a vacation to Vietnam, and I love doing these experiments with food and lifestyle and stuff, because you cannot get stuck to one cycle, like you're just following this and there is no that.
You gotta evolve, otherwise you get bored. It gets
Yeah.
mundane.
Yeah, and even the things that you love about your change that you've bought about, you don't, like be passionate about it anymore. So in Vietnam, I really allowed myself to have everything. And uh, their coffees are itself made of condensed milk, which is like sugar boiled and
That's
made.
why.
And
That's why we
yeah.
have Vietnamese coffee here.
Yeah, and it was so crazy and so good. And honestly, like that vacation was for a week, and we almost had like two coffees minimum every day because it's known for their coffees, and their coffees are like weird combinations. So I'm like, this is a great opportunity. And I'm not kidding. When I came back, I weighed myself. The difference was just of 400 grams in my weight, because see, we were walking so much, we were doing all these things. So if I would have kept myself in that space of, oh no, this has sugar, or oh no, I can't have this, I think that would have been more harmful to my overall mental health as well.
If you're going on a vacation, you
Yeah.
should go out with an open mind.
Yeah.
You should not limit yourself to calories. I would also say that. I work here, but I would also say that
Yeah.
you shouldn't limit yourself to calories at that time.
Yeah.
And did Yash help you manage all that?
Yeah, because so when I first enrolled with him, I had so many questions. But he said, like, we'll come to them when the actual situation appears. So, of course, before the travel, we had this discussion, and he's like, we had planned almost like 2 or 3 weeks before that to go on a cut, because we wanted to plan for the vacation, which honestly made sense to me. Like, he even asked me if that's okay with you and is that aligning with your schedule and your workout goals. And it really did. And I think that's the part when that whole sacrifice and discipline part comes into play. People just understand the part, oh, vacation, may I don't have to think about calories. But the before and after is what people don't account for. So before that, I went on a cut and I went on like a good training split. And even before going on the vacation, we had this discussion that let's not, even think about what we are going to do. And definitely carried my protein powder. And because I have habit of eating very early in the morning. And whenever you go on vacation, it's like everyone wakes up late, everything is late. So that habit of having at least my protein requirement met honestly kept me very regulated during the entire journey, because on vacations you don't know when you are going to eat, or maybe you club your breakfast and lunch together, and I'm a person who needs to have something every 2 hours. That's why I have my meal plan. So I think that helped a lot to know that okay, I am having my protein, or this knowledge is always going to be there. And I honestly didn't feel that guilt that happens sometimes after cheat meals.
That's worse. Like,
Yeah.
you feel guilty for eating something.
Yeah, I know, right? And
That's
I'm like, yeah.
unimaginable and unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, there's one thing that a lot of people sacrifice with, even myself. If there's something that I really love, call it a gulab jamun or a school,
Yeah.
I cannot stop after.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I think, like you said, being a food blogger, I have seen so much. I've tasted so much that I'm not even like, this is not a joke. This is like literally, if I smell something, I can tell you if it's good or not. It's that heightened sense of flavors. Because honestly, food blogging came very naturally to me. I did it while I was in college. So that's something that is second nature to me. So even if I smell something, I understand if it's good or not. So that whole thing which you're talking about, like how can you stop after one? I have been at the other end of the spectrum. So now I don't feel like exploring that spectrum anymore. Of course, I have cravings. I do, like sometimes go out of my routine to have something if I'm really craving. But I always take it as a feedback, like how was that experience for me? Did eating this complete cake actually make me feel better? Or what could I have done better next time? And not in a way that I'm criticizing, but in a way where, okay, how does this make me feel? Rather than, oh, I went overboard. It's life. You need to learn from your
I
things.
think during that time to ask yourself a question, how would it make me feel after 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And how would it make me feel after 5 days?
Yeah.
So if it makes you feel good for just 5 minutes, it's not worth it. If it makes me feel good for maybe more than a week or something, maybe I should do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I have observed myself when, even on normal days when I have meals that I've prepared on my own, a lot of days your meals don't taste good. And that's okay, I feel, because having that expectation from food that every morsel that I eat should be something like a work of art is very privileged, I feel.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
From whatever you have learned during this time, from becoming a better version of yourself, developing healthy habits,
Yeah.
overall becoming a better person,
Yeah.
what are few learnings that you would like to share with the audience?
Hmm. I think if you are struggling with something out of the context of food or anything, the mechanism to fight that is also within you. Yeah, like I've realized this very recently, that a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit, that maybe the mechanism to cope with the problem or the hindrance that I have. Because, when we speak to a lot of people, I tell them, okay, Sunday ko, if I don't do my 5K run, I feel like something is missing and I'm not a runner. This came to me very gradually. I like literally started from 500 meters and stuff. But now, from me to go from there to here, there might be something inside me which was there, but I didn't tap into it. So a lot of times when people come out with excuses like, oh, Sunday ko kaun workout karta hai, ya Sunday ko rest day, which is fine if it works for you, but for me it does not. So I like to do something, like if I get anxious or if I have some kind of routine, I need to follow it. It's that kind of a zone. And that's when I observed that these excuses are also coming from a place wherein that knowledge hasn't come into your consciousness as to beat that particular excuse. You do have that mechanism inside you. So I think, if a lot of times we feel very scared or we feel that we are not qualified enough to do something, I think that's the perfect time to start.
Like your initial statement gave me goosebumps. Whatever it is you're struggling with, you also have the ability to fight with it and
Yeah.
tackle it. That's
Yeah.
profound.